Welcome to another edition of The Way I See It with your host, Ralph Williams. And now, without further ado, Ralph Williams.
And good evening and welcome to another edition of The Way I See It. I am Ralph Williams. We're here every Monday night. We are here every Monday night, 7 p.m. right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and Twitch. Oh, you better call somebody fast, because I'm going to tell you what, we have a big show for you tonight. So get on the phone, call your friend, call your cousin, call somebody. That's right. Because tonight we have a big show coming up. I have the most blasts that I've ever done in the history of this program. The most blasts. All right, let's get started with our Chinese wisdom. And be a first-rate version of yourself, not a second-rate version of someone else. And that is tonight's Chinese wisdom. All right, so, okay, I want to talk to you tonight about Hillcrest Farm. And you know what? It's not Hillcrest Farm anymore. I was there on Saturday with my wife and my mom, and it's now called Hillcrest Beef. So it's Hillcrest Beef, and now that is their new name in the Hillcrest Farm up in Richmond, Ohio, but they're now called Hillcrest Beef. You could still get a hold of them at 740-346-5442 or 740-632-2894, and also on their Gmail address, their email, at hillcrestfarmsohio@gmail.com, and check them out on their website, hillcrestfarmsohio.com, and Hillcrest Farm or Hillcrest Beef on their Facebook page as well. They have some great grain hay beef there, great beef packages. Call them today. I went up and got the ground beef package on Saturday, and I went up to go say hello to Caitlin and Taylor, the owners. They say everything's going well, but why don't you stop up sometime this week? Take your family, get away from Taylor Swift, and get on out there to the Hillcrest Farm, Hillcrest Beef up there in Richmond, Ohio. Once again, that number is 742-346-5442 or 740-632-2894. And don't forget on their Facebook page, Hillcrest Farm, and Hillcrest Farm's website, www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com, and also on their Gmail as well, the same thing, hillcrestfarmsohio@gmail.com. All right, I also want to talk to you tonight about our studio sponsor, First Line Consultant Services. They are a brand new studio sponsor, and we're here tonight in the First Line Consulting Services studio right here in the Allentown section of the city of Pittsburgh. Also, I want to tell you about their services and what they do. And you know what they do? I'm going to visit them on Friday. You know, I visit my sponsors. I like to go out and say hello to them and meet them, because there's a few of them that I haven't. And I'm going to go meet First Line on Friday. And guess what First Line's doing for me? They're putting together a website, and they can do one for you too. So why don't you get a hold of First Line Consulting Services? They have a monthly fee for everything. They will not only manage your website, they'll create it for you and put up anything you need to be put up at one low monthly price. Check it out today. First Line Consultants, our brand new studio sponsor here on The Way I See It and on all RW Media shows. I'll tell you what, I have a big week coming up this week, but I'll tell you later on. But next, I want to talk about Draft 412. You know, on their website, Draft 412, we have a baseball draft coming up, hockey draft. We have two drafts coming up that are of importance. Who are the Pirates going to take? Who are the Penguins going to take? Well, why don't you get on Draft 412 and find out? They'll give you the lowdown on all the different draft picks, who they think they're going to pick, and everything else. Draft 412. All right. I want to talk to you today about DJ Fun. DJ Fun is a party, wedding, and special event DJ. But DJ Fun is doing a fundraiser. And get this. This lady that he consulted with about this fundraiser, these DJs that she consulted with before she found out about DJ Fun wanted $700 to $900 just to do a fundraiser. Okay. That's not DJ Fun, none whatsoever. He will not take you to the cleaners. Give him a call today, 412-545-4317. And also, you will not have to take out a loan. Call DJ Fun today, 412-545-4317. And that is our sponsors for today's The Way I See It show. I have a couple of announcements to make that I'll make later on. Some really great weekend RW Media shows. Tomorrow we have the last podcast live edition, steady live edition of Sports Corner. We're not going away. We will be doing a few live shows twice a month to satisfy two other sponsors that we now have. I'll tell you who the other sponsor is as well for Sports Corner as far as websites and different podcast companies. I'm going to tell you in a few moments. I'll tell you later on tonight as we go along towards the end, towards the announcement. And don't forget next Tuesday's radio show as well. And tomorrow and Wednesday, I have some phenomenal shows for you live here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. And you're not going to believe who I have coming on. I will tell you that later on. All right, let's get in our blast segment because today is a record. It's a record-breaking day here on The Way I See It. And the reason I say it's a record-breaking night or day is because the reason I say that is because guess what we have? We have the most blasts ever in the history of The Way I See It. All right, my first blast, and it's not a first-time blast. I want to talk about the Star Lake Amphitheater once again, the pavilion at Star Lake. And what are they? You're probably saying, well, Ralph, what are you getting on them about now? Well, I'm getting on them because last Monday night, they had the show, the Dead and Company happened to be there. And what happened? Once again, Live Nation couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the crowd. They couldn't handle all the traffic. They couldn't handle anything. So what happened? Everything got out of control. Everything got into a big mess, okay? And this is exactly why Live Nation should not be permitted to run the pavilion at Star Lake any longer. And I'm going to tell you a little story here. I used to work for a security company that had the contract for Star Lake Amphitheater. And let me tell you this much. When I worked for them, none of these problems ever happened. We had enough staff. We had enough people to handle things, and we kept things under control, and we were organized. For some strange reason, okay, Live Nation, in their infinite wisdom, decided they were not going to contract us anymore. So guess what? That's why I'm blasting you tonight, because this has happened yet again. And this has happened many times in the last 6 years since the contract has been dissolved, that Live Nation has had all these problems because they thought they were smarter than everybody else. And that's why I'm blasting them tonight. And that is the way I see it about the pavilion at Star Lake and Live Nation events. All right, we'll talk about that later in our key topics. Next, Charleroi official who wants to dissolve ABC and handle, or wants their water authority and wants to handle it themselves. You know something? This is getting a little out of control here. Water bills going up sky high, power going up sky high, everything's going up sky high. But in Charleroi, now they want to control their own power. Okay, instead of having the contracting company that they had, they claim they tried to re-sign with them, which is false. Okay, Charleroi is the folks in Charleroi. They don't deserve to have to pay more. Everybody has to pay more for everything. Well, now this has gotten completely out of hand. I'm blasting you tonight. That is the way I see it. Next, Kennywood. Once again, here we go. Kennywood. What do they do now? I'll tell you what they did now. And again, I have nothing against teachers, so please don't blow up my comment section. Don't blow up my email saying, Ralph, you have a problem with teachers. No, what I have a problem with is that they get to get into Sandcastle at free of charge. How about the military? How about that? How about the nurses that work at hospitals that have to work 15, 20-hour days because we got lazy people in this country and society? How about them? Okay, I understand there's a shortage of teachers. I understand teachers are not appreciated, but there are more important people that you could give that free entrance to and admission to than teachers. And that's singling out a bunch of other people that probably could never, ever afford to go to Sandcastle. And that tonight is the way I see it with Kennywood. As always, I have to blast him again on this program. All right. Next, Southwood Hospital in Washington County for abusing an autistic child. Okay. Supposedly, this hospital is supposed to be an expert and specialist at working with autistic children. From what I saw, it doesn't look that way. Okay. And I'm very unhappy about the fact that the staff has mistreated a whole bunch of these autistic children. Okay. I realize that now it's desperation time. You can't find people to work in hospitals, nursing homes. Again, we live in a lazy society, and I've been preaching this for 2 years now on this program, and you all know it if you watch the show. Okay. So here we are one more time. We have to deal with this again. Again, abuse of autistic children in a nursing home, because I know the employees don't make enough money. They're too busy on their cell phone. There's this, there's that. And nobody wants to do their job. They want to go out and smoke. They want to have 2-hour lunches. This stuff just can't go on. And that's why we have what we have today in Southwood Hospital. Shame on you for doing this to autistic children. That tonight is the way I see it. All right. Next. The retired principal or superintendent from the Knox School District who did not report the principal who did not report a sexual assault. How in the world do you do this? You are supposed to report all sexual assaults. You are supposed to report anything that has been brought to your attention of a sexual assault. And you did not do that. You didn't even bother to do that. Okay. So therefore, I have to blast you for this tonight, because I don't appreciate the fact that you have done this. And that's not right at all. That is not right, none whatsoever. So please, next time you decide not to report a sexual assault, make sure that I don't have to blast you for it, because guess what? That tonight is the way I see it. All right. Next, I want to talk about the kids from Pine Richland who decided to do a racist act on social media. Now, I understand social media is a free-for-all. Everyone knows that. Social media can be dangerous. But when you go and you post and you do all these things like this, that is wrong, and you shouldn't do none of that. Okay? None of it whatsoever. Pine Richland, the kids from Pine Richland who did this, who put that black face on there and did all that other stuff, shame on you. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, and your parents should be ashamed of themselves as well for making you do this and teaching you otherwise. And that tonight is the way I see it. All right. Next, I tell you, tonight we have a lot of blasts, the most ever. I have 9 blasts tonight, and we're on number 7. Once again, here we go. Once again, here we go. Guess who? Todd Joseph of Conneaut Lake Park once again. Now, Todd Joseph once again is now evicting the management group of the Conneaut Hotel. The Hotel Conneaut. All right. So here's the big argument with the Conneaut folks who live or die for Conneaut Lake Park, okay? All right. They're on there fighting with the Todd Joseph guys. The people who like Todd Joseph, who think Todd Joseph was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Okay. But we have drunks running around vomiting everywhere. We have all kinds of stuff going on because Todd Joseph decided to turn Conneaut Lake Park into a park that he was not supposed to turn it into. And what had happened was that the hotel management who runs the hotel, who manages it for Todd, on the property there, are suing him because he promised he was going to keep it a park, not a RV park where, the hotel's not even included in the whole situation, but he wants their lease, but they're not included in the whole situation, and they're not making the business they were supposed to and promised to be making. And that tonight is the way I see it. I'm blasting Todd Joseph again, and I got a little story for you coming up later on about him. All right, the truck driver who caused a fire on Interstate 95 and made it collapse. Thank you. I would really love to know what made that fire on your truck to cause this road to buckle up and cave in and cause a whole big time pile up in Philadelphia. All right. Shame on you for this. If it was something to do with your truck, guess what? I'm blasting you tonight for this because you caused a catastrophe on this road that is the key road into the city of Philadelphia. And that tonight is the way I see it. The next, the owner of the North Hills Auto Mall. You know what? No, the owner of the North Hills Auto Mall, shame on you. And let me tell you why. Because you were the one who was selling cars to people that were lemons. You were selling, in case some of you don't know what a lemon means, it's a car that has been sold to you that you cannot run. And so therefore, you sometimes have to take them to court, or you have to do different things, and so on and so forth. So therefore, all right, he was selling lemons in this lot. And if you noticed that this lot still has a whole heap of cars there, and you want to know why? Because the word is out about you, North Hills Auto Mall. All right. I went there about 3-4 years ago to go look for a wheelchair accessible van. He wanted to sell it to me at an expensive price, and I would have been sorry because it didn't run. It had a lot of mileage on it. It was bad. Okay. I had a personal experience with them. Some people have as well. Some of the cars are bad. The AG, the Attorney General, is shutting you down. That is the way I see it tonight. All right. Now we're going to get into our bonehead segment. Our bonehead segment, the guy who made 17 thefts at a Target store. That is one big boneheaded thing. All right. How in the world do you make 17 thefts at the same Target store and no one does anything about it? You know what? I feel bad for, I blame security for this, but this was a boneheaded move because guess what? The 17th theft is when he got arrested. All right. And that is our one bonehead for the night. Another person who tried to once again go through security at the PIA with a gun. Oh my gosh. Again and again, here we are going through PIA with a gun. Pittsburgh International Airport. What a boneheaded move. The woman who got arrested for stealing at a hotel in Clarion County, she was a housekeeper. She stole $1,250. How can you do that? Oh my. Several people banned from the Rivers Casino for fighting. What a boneheaded move that was. Absolutely nothing but boneheaded there. All right, tonight we're going to get into my life story this week. We had a busy week, and this coming week's going to be a busy week as well. Tuesday, I went to sign the contract with Beaver County Radio. And those of you who are not aware, I am putting Sports Corner with myself and Smoke and Jim Frazier on the radio starting next Tuesday, June 20th, 5 to 6 p.m. and every Tuesday afterwards. We will be on every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. We'll also be live on their Facebook page, live on their website, and also you can listen on the app as well. Several ways to listen in. If you even live in Alaska, as long as you have internet, you can listen and you can watch. Okay? There's no excuse not to participate in Sports Corner Radio. All right? Also, tonight, I just got a contract together with Sideline Sports. We're going to be part of Sideline Sports. We're already part of Amped Up Sports. You can go on their Facebook page in the next couple of weeks, and you'll see Sports Corner on there all the time. If you can't catch the radio version, you can catch it on their website as well. And I got something I got to tell you later on as well that I'm thinking about dissolving myself with because of some situations of getting ripped off, and I'll tell you about that later on. All right, next on Wednesday, my wife and I went out to get some air. We actually went out. I had a meeting with somebody about some RW media business, and it turns out that person had a change of plans. So we decided to go out and get some air. We went and got gas. We drove around a little bit, went and got an ice cream, and then came back. We had a little bit of a nice little time together to go out and just ride around, just checking out the South Hills of the city, and it wasn't real jammed up either because everybody was doing other things, watching the Pirates lose to the Oakland A's. So that, there you go there with that. So that's where everybody was. So there we are with that. And then Friday Friday we went to the St. Albert the Great Street Fair. Now, I don't like criticizing churches. They do good things, okay? But I have a problem with this fair, all right? We got there early, super early, all right? Now, they opened the fair at 6:30. All right, 6:30 rolls around. The food wasn't out yet. Then, on top of all that, they didn't even have their money out yet, okay, to take orders, okay? So, what had happened was the lines got real long for food. And, everybody barged into the fair. And what had happened was when he barged in, the lines got real, real long. All right? And you had to wait forever to get your food. It's hot. I had to wait forever to get your food, okay? Then they had a band, and I don't even know who this band was. They never introduced themselves, all right? They were playing pretty reasonable music, okay? They were playing good cover tunes, which, of course, that's what a lot of bands do. Most of the local bands, some of them might produce some of their own songs, but a lot of them are cover bands, all right? Well, they were there playing, their music. They didn't say, we are, the Harrison Company or any of that stuff, or we're this person or that person, nothing. Not a thing. All they did was sing. All they did was sing songs. They weren't interactive with the crowd. They didn't say, this, that, nothing. All right. While we were waiting for our food in the hot heat. So then somebody in their infinite wisdom, and I don't know who it was, they always used to put the lemonade tent right in the corner, right down from the money machines. The money wheels that go around. Okay. All right. Well, it turns out this year, somebody in their infinite wisdom, and I don't know who it was, decided to put a tent under a tent. What they did was they put the blow-up tent that they had with a canopy on top of one of those quick pump-up canopy tents with it as right under the big circus tent where everybody sits to eat. And that clogged up that area for you to get in and out of in order to get a seat. All right. I want to know whose decision that was, because that was the wrong decision. Okay. Other than that, we had fun. Played a few games. Didn't play some of the regular games. They got rid of the rifle game with the star. You know how you shoot the gun and you have to shoot the star. They got rid of that. I guess because all the violence going on, they don't want to incur anymore. So then they had a football thing where you had to throw the football through a round hole. You know how that is. And they had a flea market and a bingo and a 50-50 raffle and baskets of cheer and all that other stuff. But what really bothered me was there were a lot of people that just simply do not pay attention to anything. Nothing whatsoever. Okay? They pay no attention to nothing. The cell phone itself, they walk around playing around on a cell phone, banged into me several times. Okay, I had to go around people. I said, excuse me, 100 times. Nobody gets out of the way. All right. Then we're sitting down eating. People keep on walking through. Instead of going around, they're trying to walk by, and my wife's trying to sit there and eat. My mom, we're all trying to enjoy our food. Okay. And we can't enjoy it because they kept bumping into us, trying to get through the road. And they see we can't move our chairs. So they just continue to do it. All right. Okay. I can't fix stupid, okay? And common sense went out the window years ago. And now it's getting even worse. All right? We're in a lazy society, and it's getting worse and worse. No one's thinking, no one's doing anything. And it's sad. It really is. All right. Saturday, went to take a ride out to my sponsor, Hillcrest Farm, to go pick up some ground beef pack. You need to go out there as well and pick up one. I went out to go see the owners, see how they're doing. They said business is moving. Thank you, is what they said to me. And they were very excited about our radio show coming on next week on Beaver County Radio. All right. And they're one of my first sponsors. And then we stopped at an Eaton Park on the way home in Weirton, West Virginia. And, Eaton Park has kind of gotten a little shabby since COVID. All right. And some of them have. Not all of them, some of them. It depends on where you go. Okay. I went to the one in Erie. I like Eaton Park. It's sort of an economical place to eat and get the type of, food you want, like a sandwich or a meatloaf dinner or something like that. All right. If I want Italian, I'm going to go eat Italian. I'm not going to eat Italian at Eaton Park. Okay. Now, supposedly down the road in the next year or two, they're supposed to be changing it to Park and Eat. And I've been saying that for many years. Why in the world would you call something Eaton Park when you got to park first, then go in and eat? You don't have to work. You see what I'm saying? All right. So, therefore, why don't you make it Park and Eat? So that's what they're going to do. All right. That's down the road. I ordered the whale of a codfish sandwich. Now, normally when I go and I have the whale of a codfish sandwich, it's usually this thick and it's usually this long. It was this long. Yeah, it was thick, but the bun was small. It was like this. Okay. All right. I don't know what's going on in this country today. I found out something very interesting. Car parts are hard to find. Cars are getting harder and harder to find. Lots are running out and they can't resupply. They're going out of business because they can't. It's difficult now. I thought we were over all this. Obviously, we're not. And what's sad about all this, everyone, is that our government doesn't care. We're too busy worrying about Ukraine. We're too busy worrying about greenhouse gas. We're too busy worrying about that kind of stuff. How about worrying about getting people back to work? Okay? And one thing I do agree with McCarthy on is that some people need to get up and go out and work. All right? And stop collecting. The ones that can. Okay? I do agree with him on that. And you know, a lot of you don't realize President Clinton did that. He was the first Democrat to ever have welfare reform because he says you can do things with welfare, but you can't. He didn't want you staying on welfare your whole life. So he made everybody after a certain amount of time go out and get a job. And that's what needs to go on now because we have a weak president and we have a weak society and we have a lazy society on top of it being weak. Okay. And we live in an I don't care society and it's worse and worse. And if you don't see this, then there's something wrong with you. There really is. Okay? And that is exactly what I mean by when I say laziness. And I think it's all about laziness. I think it's all about nothing. And I think it's all about nobody cares. And it all coincides. It all comes together. When you can't get car parts. When you can't fix cars because they can't find parts. When you can't put out new cars because certain countries got things tied up in the ocean. Why? Why isn't our country doing something about that? No, we're worried about sending $300 billion to Ukraine. And please don't burn up my comments section. Do not burn up my emails. Do not go out there and say, oh, Ralph is against Ukraine. No, I understand what's going on in Ukraine. We have issues here. Let's deal with them here first. All right. I've said this many times. Vladimir Stabitsky or Stamitsky or Stamusky or whatever his name is comes to Joe Biden, sticks his hand out, and Joe Biden gives him his money. Okay. That's like a homeless person or someone just coming up to you and sticking their hand out and you just hand them money. All right. But that is what's going on right now in our society and in our country, and no one's doing anything about it. So when we go to a vote in 2024, my suggestion to you is vote for somebody that's going to do something and not just do this. I spoke about this in last week's show. Why? Because I'm getting tired of it. And now it's getting worse and worse, and there's more and more incidents going on than ever before with all kinds of different stuff happening. Okay? And I got a lot of excuses as to why we can't get anything done. All right, some key topics for you tonight. That's the way I see it. Tonight, key topic, Star Lake. All right. This is why I don't go to Star Lake. Okay? It's too far of a drive, too much traffic, and it takes 5 years to get out. Now, Star Lake was built in 1988. The very first show that was there was Billy Joel. All right? They had issues then. State police used to handle that area. Then Hanover Township started gradually taking it over. Now, I want to know is what happened to Hanover Township that they kept cutting police back. They used to have a jail there, like a holding jail. Okay? I heard they took it out. All right? All of a sudden, Live Nation takes over, and everything changes. Okay? All right? What can't we find someone else to run this place and run it right? Can we not do that? Because Live Nation's making too many mistakes at this place. And again, I told you earlier in the blast segment that I worked for the security company that was once there. Okay, they got rid of us in 2017 or 2016. I'm sorry. And what did they do? They wanted their own people. They didn't want to contract nobody. All right. And it wasn't expensive. And it wasn't like they wanted to control everything. That's fine. That's all fine and dandy, but do it right. Don't do it like half-wit. Remember what happened at the Jimmy Buffett show about 3-4 years ago? Remember that? Everybody got stuck out in the highway. Same thing happened again this week on the Dead concert. Now, a lot of you are not aware, Jimmy Buffett is a complete jerk when it comes to his shows. You have to serve his beer, and he will not let you go into the lot at noon. They usually open the lots at noon if there's a 7 o'clock show. They'll let you go in there and get settled and tailgate. All right? He will not let you listen to the sound check for free. So until he's done with his sound check, they cannot open up the parking lots. You know what I tell Jimmy Buffett to do, don't you? Okay? That's what I would tell Jimmy Buffett to do. I really would. Okay? You're not going to tell me how to run my amphitheater. You're not going to tell me how to run my facility. All right? At one time, he was at PNC Park, and it was a great thing because the Pirates told him, we're going to do things my way here. And I think that's why he stays out at the pavilion at Star Lake. All right? And that's exactly where we are right now with this place. The bathrooms are nasty. I haven't been there in a while, and I don't want to go back. Even though I'm handicapped, even though I could go there with my power chair, as of right now, I don't have a wheelchair accessible van because I can't afford one. Okay? All right? I can't afford one, and I can't get one at all at this point. Okay? So what's happening is, even if I did have a wheelchair accessible van, I would have to park 2 miles away from the gate, go into the gate, go through the gate, go on a hill to get to the handicap section to sit to watch the show. All right. And you got to pay what? $5, $6, $7, $10 for a bottle of water. It was $5 back 10 years ago. So I can just imagine what it is now. Okay. All right. So what I'm saying to you is, you want to continue to go out there and go to these shows, that's fine. You do what you got to do. But when you got to walk from the highway because you can't get into the amphitheater, all right, because of some screw up, okay? And get this, Live Nation didn't start hiring until a month before these shows started. They should have been started hiring, like in January, perhaps, okay? And then every time they have these job fairs, they don't have them at the amphitheater, or they don't have them in 2 or 3 of them. They have one, and it's in West Virginia. Okay? Why don't you make it accessible for other people to want to get a job there that might want to work there? Then maybe you might get more people. All right? Then they said they didn't have enough parking, and people had to park miles away off the road to park their car. Then when they would try to walk into the amphitheater, they were given a hard time. All right. And now you got Fish coming, and Fish plays Grateful Dead songs. So I can't wait to see what that's going to be like. And they sold out 2 shows. So what's Live Nation going to do next? They're going to screw that up next? Yes. It's the way I see it tonight about them. It's a shame. It really is. It's sad that everybody has to go through all that just to go see a show. I'm not doing it. I refuse. All right. Racist behavior at Pine Richland. You know, I blasted these kids tonight with this racist behavior. And you know what? That's really sad. Pine Richland's a good school district. And it's really, really awfully sad that this kind of stuff goes on. All right, this racism, this blackface that they put on, that they went on social media and did all this stuff. And there are, families there that, that took offense to that. And I don't blame them. I would too. All right. The question is now, is the school district going to do something about it? That's the question. Okay. Do they have an idea who these kids are? Are they going to find them and arrest them and go after the parents for this? Anything that involves a child that your parents still have to oversee, it's the parents' fault. It is. All right. It's the parents' fault. And it's probably some kids whose parents are on the school board. And we've already had issues at Pine Richland with the school board and the Coach K incident with Eric Kazarowski. Okay. All right. We've already had that issue. We already had the issue with the school board members getting their names painted over in the last election because some woman who was involved with one of the school board members didn't like something that he did or didn't do something that he promised he was going to do and ended up getting his name spray painted on. That woman's been charged. Will these kids get charged? Probably so. They don't do like a certain school district in Pittsburgh who don't do anything about anything. Okay. Next week, I'm going to have Jake Hauk on the show here. And in case you don't know who he is, he's from the Allegheny Institute for Public Policy. It's a think tank. All right. Jake Hauk is going to talk to us about the Pittsburgh public school system. School's out. It's been mismanaged for 30 years or more. It's a horrible school district. I almost ran for school board. I don't have the time right now, but if I did, I would run. Okay. All right. I might have to get rid of a couple other things in order to do that. And right now, I don't want to do that. You see what I'm saying? All right. And the people that elect the people that are on the school board should be ashamed of themselves. Because the school board's weak, city council's weak. I said that last week. Everybody's weak. But I will give credit to where credit is due. I want to say thank you to Mayor Ed Gainey. He finally came into my building here and has agreed that he's going to start cleaning up some stuff here. But it took me only in this building to do something about it. Nobody even bothered to even try to help me. Okay? And that's a typical thing that goes on everywhere nowadays. Nobody wants to help nobody. There's a select few. I have some good friends that help me out. I help them out. But a lot of people don't want to help nobody out. And that's why we are where we are in this country right now. And it's terrible. I say it every time. But this racist behavior at Pine Richland is sad. It really is. That tonight's the way I see it. Next, Century 3 Mall's plan in place. But what is it? I have a friend of mine who has some insight on some of this. He sent me the ultimate plan from West Mifflin that is going to be presented at this meeting coming up this week. This meeting is to hold these owners accountable for the destruction of Century 3 Mall. And you know what? The Century 3 Mall's been sitting there for, 5-6 years now? The last time anything happened was in 2019. JCPenney pulled out. That was it. It was over. And it's been an eyesore, and it's been sitting there for years. A kid a few weeks back went through the roof of the place and fell. Got hurt. He's being charged as soon as he gets out of the hospital. Where's the parents there? Okay, he was a teenage kid. All right. So anyway, getting back to Century 3 Mall. All right. It's where it's at. And now they're talking about retail, hotel. They're talking about retail. And they're talking about business park. That's what they're talking about for that property. And I could care less what they do with it as long as they do something other than with Century 3 Mall. I gave them a suggestion of what to do. I think they should put an indoor water park in there. I think they should put some kind of indoor entertainment facility. That place is so huge, you could have an indoor water park, a small amphitheater for shows, an indoor golf course or a miniature golf course or entertainment center, go-karts or whatever. Okay, it could be this phenomenal entertainment mall, but it's not. All right. The plan is to move Walmart from the top of the hill down below and Sam's Club down below. As you well know, they're up on the top of the hill there off of Lebanon Church Road in West Mifflin is where the Sam's Club and the Walmart are. That's the plan. And then they're going to build some office buildings around there, some hotels, and a bunch of other stuff. We'll see what goes on this week's that what they call concentration hearing or something, where they're going to talk about trying to get these owners out of here and be able to do something with this property. West Mifflin should have been done something a long time ago, and they laid an egg. All right. The sad part about all this is they have Kennywood, and they also have Century 3 Mall all in their same area in West Mifflin. It's the way I see it tonight. Allegheny County Jail Board walks out. Wow. What a bunch of immature. Well, I shouldn't say immature. Bethany Hallam's on there. And Bethany Hallam's been on my show a few times talking about what goes on there. She even walked out. Okay. I don't know what went on down there. I have to look at the footage. I can watch it on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel. You can watch the jail board hearings. And I'm going to watch it. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to find out exactly what happened. I'll get back to you next week. Why did they walk out? Why did they just get up and leave? Why? Because Orlando Harper, the warden, don't know how to run his jail? The county uses it as a cash cow? Okay. So there we are. The county jail, same old thing again. And now the board is walking out on their meetings. Because maybe somebody offended somebody or somebody said something to somebody or whatever. Okay. But there we are. That's where we're at. That's the way I see it tonight. Next. More complaining about the shell cracker plant. You know what? I'm really, 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 really getting angry about this. I'm tired of the complaining. I don't want to hear it no more. You wanted it there, it's there, and now you don't want it. Okay? That's like saying you want to eat steak, and you get the steak for free, but then you complain because the steak, you didn't like the way the steak was cooked, but you got it for free, and you wanted steak. So what I'm telling you is, you wanted this cracker plant there, and now you complain because, oh, we can't breathe, or the smoke's coming here, this is going, this is doing. It goes on all the time. Why? Why did you want it there and then now you don't? Okay? But I don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it when you have to pay more money for property taxes. I don't want to hear the 80-year-old senior citizens come on and say, I gotta pay 80 more money for property taxes. No, because I don't want to hear it. Because I'm tired of it. You know, in life these days, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You wanted that plant. Now you're complaining because it's doing too bad or it's breaking rules or it's doing whatever. Okay. It creates a ton of good paying jobs. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. Nobody wants to work. So that's another issue. Okay. All right. But here we are, an economical thing. It brings the economy up high, and all the businesses in downtown Beaver Falls and Vanport and wherever else there. All right. But you don't see it that way. But when that business closes, oh, business closed. Oh, it closed. Yeah, it closed because you made it close. Because the shell cracker plant was there and it was a big economic boom. And he let it go boom. And that's the way I see it tonight. All right, next, the labor union endorses Joe Rockey. Can you believe this? The labor's union endorses Joe Rockey for county executive. And this is where we are with Sarah Amarato. That a union has endorsed a Republican. Okay? Now, here's the way I see this. All right? Joe Rockey is a Republican that acts like a Democrat. Rich Fitzgerald was a Democrat that acts like a Republican. So now we're going to have it the opposite now. because I don't see Sarah Alvarado winning this unless the progressive people, and you have all your progressives out there. You got these two magistrates that don't believe in bond or bail, okay, and they're letting everybody off on everything. All right, I heard about this in the county. There's at least two, maybe three. Then you got these, the Summer Lees of the world, and you got the Ed Gainey's. Ed Gainey too. He's involved in that progressive group. Okay. Summer Lee, you got all these folks. They're in this new progressive Sarah Alvarado. They're all in this progressive organized thing. And as long as they keep doing what they're going to do, you're not going to see better policing because they want to defund the police. You're not going to see jobs created because they're too busy worrying about taking away jobs. All right. Fracking is the thing that makes a bundle of money, and there hasn't been in a long, long time any bad water anywhere. It's been a long time. Okay? They got that nipped in the butt immediately. All right? You don't want that. Anything that has anything to do with something to really make it, if you're supposed to be progressive, and what I mean by progressive is you're supposed to have a backbone, and you don't. You want to defund the police because you feel your rights are violated. Well, don't commit crimes, and your rights won't be violated. Okay? All right? And maybe I'm wrong about these people. Maybe I am. But a labor union endorsing Joe Rockey? Why? Because Joe Rockey was the CEO or currently is or some kind of executive officer with PNC Bank. He's made money. He knows how to make Allegheny County money. Okay? All right? All I hope is that he fixes up Schumann Center and he does better with the county jail. Because if not, this whole county is in trouble. Downright in trouble. The city and the county are both in trouble. And we got to get somebody in there. And if Joe Rockey does get elected, he has to get along with Ed Gainey. And I know why Ed Gainey wants Sarah Alvarado in there, because they get along. She scratched his back when he was running for mayor, so now the mayor scratches her back. And this progressive group of people that are voters that go out and vote, and they have a lot of guts. They go out and vote because there's a lot of people that don't have the guts to go out and vote. All right? And now they're going to continue to do this. And if you don't want to see this go on, that's fine. All right? I want to see a Schumann Center so we can get some of these kids off the street. I want to see a better jail. I want to see a better medical treatment for people. I have a problem when a vet is down there and he was put in jail for something he really didn't do. Okay? He was down there for 6 months and he begged and begged and begged for his medication and he didn't get it. And he died. They just had another death there. And Bethany Howland told me we lead the country in deaths among county jails. That's sad when that kind of statistic is going on in this city. Our city has bad enough reputation. Somebody's got to fix it. Maybe Joe Rockey can. Maybe Sarah Alvarado can. I don't know. All right. Remember that when you go to the polls, though. That's the way I see it tonight. Juneteenth organizer accuses the city and the county of discrimination. Well, you know what? That's not true. Ed Gainey made a statement. And I'm glad he did. He said, and I quote, "You didn't have all the permits you were supposed to have together. You didn't have your paperwork in order. What, did you think that because it was Juneteenth that we were just going to sit there and let you do whatever you wanted to do? No. You got to follow the rules. Oh, well, you're telling us now that we have to have private security. You were told that before. For all special private events, you have to provide your own security. The city will help you a little bit, but they're not going to do the whole thing. Okay? All right? But to get on TV and complain. All right. But when I needed your help to help me with this building, nobody would help me out. But instead, you're going to complain about that. You understand what I'm saying? Tim Stevens, who's never returned my phone call. All right. And a few other people. And I know Tim Stevens to a friend. All right. Spoke to him about what's going on. Oh, well, he helped out Northview Heights when them tenants had problems, but he wouldn't help us out when I went to him and asked for help. Okay. He was down there on TV with the rest of them who were crying discrimination. It's not discriminatory when you don't pay, when you don't fill out the proper paperwork. It's not discriminatory when you were supposed to provide private security and you're not going to. All right. The city never said you couldn't do this. And the city's not discriminating against you. Oh, well, the state park ranger down there don't like me. Well, did you cop an attitude with him? He says the state's out to get him. The state has rules and regulations for what you do at Point State Park for a private event. All right. You wanted to have fireworks and you wanted to have it in the grass at Point State Park. They told you had to have it on a barge and you flipped out. That's the rules. What are you thinking? All right. But for you to go crying about, discrimination, that's wrong. It's wrong. That's the way I see it tonight. County Council passes a bill for $20 an hour minimum wage for county employees. Good for them. Good for them. But I feel bad for the county because they can't get workers, because guess why? It comes back to the old adage that I've been saying. Nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to work. It's the way I see it tonight. Todd Joseph, here we go again. Todd Joseph's at it again. And what do I mean by at it again? First, he's being sued by the hotel manager of Hotel Conneaut. In case you don't know, Todd Joseph is the owner of Conneaut Lake Park. It's a park, a little small family park up in Crawford County. At least it was. Okay. I've been blasting this guy since he bought the place because he lied to those people at Conneaut. He lied to the bankruptcy judge. And what's interesting about all this is nobody's hauled him to the carpet yet. Okay. They tried. There was a group of people got together, got a lawyer. They tried to do it in bankruptcy court here in Pittsburgh. They said they didn't have the jurisdiction to do anything. Or something like that happened. Okay. So this guy's in Conneaut Lake. He's doing whatever he wants up there, and he's indestructible. Nobody can touch him. He's like a few other things I know about. All right. So now he's evicting the operator out of the hotel. They got served eviction papers. Now, here's the thing that bothers me. I have tried ever since Todd Joseph bought Conneaut Lake Park, which was in 2021, to get somebody on from the Meadville Tribune who writes all these articles, okay, about Conneaut Lake Park. But not one of these people, not one of these reporters, or not one of anyone at all at the Tribune, the Meadville Tribune Review will ever come on my show. The last time I asked one of them to come on, he said, the article speaks for itself. Really? Wow. What? I got to get disrespected again by somebody like that? You're a small little dinky paper up in Meadville. And let me tell you something. You lost a customer. Okay? I will never, ever, and I don't care where I get my information from people up there anyway. I'm friends with the Conneaut group up there. They give me information. They tell me what's going on. I don't need the Tribune. I subscribe to Erie News Now. They tell me what's going on. But for the Meadville Tribune for 2 years now will not come on this program to talk to me about Todd Joseph. But they'll print something, but they won't come on here and talk about it. What is it? Do you have a problem with me, or do you like Todd Joseph? What is the problem here? That's what I want to know, Meadville Tribune. And if you know someone that works for them, good. You can tell them I said this. Okay? I don't need your newspaper, and I don't need you. And every time I ask for somebody up there, no, they say, I respectfully decline. It's like it's the company line to say to somebody that you don't want to be on a show. Okay? I respectfully decline. Okay? So there we are. And now Todd Joseph's going to get away with, again, doing something that is not right. And then I get these folks that fight with me on Facebook about how, oh, it's Todd Joseph's park. No, look, listen to what I'm saying to you. When you fill out papers and you are under the legal law of bankruptcy court and you are supposedly supposed to keep it as a family park and not tear everything down and make it into a demilitarized zone like it's going on up there, okay? That is when I have a problem with this, okay? Because I've been there. I was there the first year he opened. It was not handicap accessible. The food was overpriced. The park looked a mess. And he was putting up fencing all over the place, crying and complaining because people were vandalizing the park. Well, why didn't no one vandalize the park once before? Maybe Todd Joseph, you're an idiot or a jerk or something like that. That makes people want to vandalize the park. And maybe if you would have lived up to your promise that you signed legal paper documents that said you were not going to tear this park down, and you went ahead and did it anyway. Oh, it's his property. He can do whatever he wants. Yeah. But not to that community who has supported that park for many years. And now he wants to turn it into some adult RV park with a water slide, and he has all these concerts with a bunch of drunks running all over the place with local bands. All right? I talked to Norm Nordini. He was there. He told me. He had fun, but the place is terrible. Not like it used to be. And he says, I feel bad for the people in Conneaut. And I do too, because I don't think it's right. Okay? He tore down the Blue Streak, which was a historic landmark, and but nothing happened. Nobody did. The Historical Landmark Foundation didn't give him a fine. Nothing happened to him. He had a burn. He burned down there. He didn't have a permit to burn. Nothing happened to him. But the fire department had to go there and put out that fire. They had to waste their time. They had to go there and put out that fire because he was careless. All right. This is Todd Joseph controlling a community, and it needs to stop. And Conneaut doesn't have the guts to do it, because if they did, they would have done it by now. All right? That's the way I see it tonight. Just some basic topics before we go. Picklesburg is still on. It'll be this year. It's going to be along Stanwick Street, along that end of town, on the Boulevard of the Allies, on that other side there. Reason being is because there's not enough space on the Clementi Bridge to handle all the people. All right? That's the way I see it tonight. City of Pittsburgh opening its pools. They have 145 lifeguards. I'm going to try and will open up 15 pools. And they're going to try to open more based on the lifeguards. All right. Unabomber Ted Kaczynski passes away, 81 years old. I read an article that he died of suicide. 81 years old, Ted Kaczynski. All right. A man catches a 66-pound catfish in Susquehanna River. How about that one, huh? That's the way I see it tonight. The Terrible Trolley's making a comeback. That's nice. It's an older trolley. Used to ride around all the time during Steeler games. And my next and last topic here for tonight before we get into our announcements. The National Rail Conference rolls into Pittsburgh. Started yesterday, and it's done on Wednesday. I'm going on Wednesday. Why? I'm going to represent the Allegheny County Transit Council, for which I am the president of. Okay? So I'm going there on Wednesday. They are going to be touring around the facilities of PRT. They are going to be giving tips to PRT as to what to do, different newer things, newer rail cars, newer technology, newer, everything. So it's going to be beneficial for PRT as well. And please do not forget, this weekend is Taylor Swift. Okay? Taylor Swift this week. All right, real quick. We're going to get to this next week. I had so much to talk about today. I didn't get into the top 10, but we'll get into it next week. Okay. All right, some announcements to make tomorrow night. Sports Corner, the last live, steady Tuesday night Sports Corner podcast. I have an all-star cast coming on. I have Leo Haggerty. He's going to talk about the Florida Panthers. They're down 3-1, and all Vegas has to do is win one more game, and they win the Stanley Cup. Also, I'm going to have Marty Leap on to talk about the Pirates. They have a pitching dilemma right now. Vince Velasquez is out for the season. J.D. Brubaker's out with Tommy John surgery, and Ranji Kateris has struggled. There you are. So I'm going to ask Marty Leap what the Pirates plan on doing. Are they going to get a veteran? Are they going to try to bring somebody up from the minors? What are they going to do? All right. And new to Sports Corner, our new reporter from the Post-Gazette, Noah Hiles, is going to join us. He's going to talk about Pitt. Pitt football's coming up. Our training camp comes in August. What's Pitt up to? How's their recruiting base going? I heard they signed a few 4-star recruits for 2024. They're projected to go 8-4. So we'll talk about that tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. right here, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter on our normal 4 platforms. Okay. Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m., a very special Ralph Williams one-on-one, former football player Mel Farr Jr. Mel Farr Jr. joins me Wednesday night right here on YouTube, 8:30 start time, 30-minute interview show. I haven't done one for a while. Ralph Williams one-on-one. And then on Thursday, don't forget at 7:30 on Blog Talk Radio, 347-205-9631. Wrestle Talk, myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, Mark Mancini, our guest, local McKeesport wrestler. He wrestles for that McKeesport group down there in McKeesport. Eric Johnson will join us. He's an independent wrestler. He's going to talk about the independent scene locally and about what their organization's up to down there in McKeesport. So join us for Wrestle Talk across the country and around the world. 347-205-9631 is the number to call to listen to the show. We have a lot of audience for that. And then Saturday morning, 9:30, the External Bum Podcast. And the External Bum Podcast will be on 9:30 a.m. Our guest, Joe Kuglis, myself, Mark Mancini, and possibly Avi Greenwald and or maybe Smoking Jim Frazier. And also Saturday, I'm going out to Beaver County Radio's new facility, a new headquarters or new studios in Brighton. Okay. And they're going to have a ribbon cutting. They're having a car cruise. All the personalities will be there. Eddie Crow, Mike Romai, Frank Sparks, myself. I'll be there. Because you know why? Tuesday, June 20th, 5 to 6 p.m., Beaver County Radio. I told everybody, and nobody believed me, that I was going to put on a radio show somehow, some way, whether it was this show or Sports Corner. So I'm putting Sports Corner on there by popular demand. I'm putting Sports Corner on at Beaver County Radio. 95.7, 99.3 FM, 12:30 a.m., 1460 a.m. Okay? live on Facebook as well. No excuse not to check us out and support us. The new Voices of Sports, myself and Smoking Jim Frazier. We've been around, but see, a lot of people don't know it. But now we're on radio, and we're expanding to that. Okay? We're getting away from a certain entity, because I don't like what certain entities trying to squeeze my pocket for money. All right? You all know who that entity is. And tonight, I just got an email from them. Now they want to play games with me because they're mad at me because I'm leaving. Because I'm not doing live shows there anymore. Why should I? And this is where you come in. You live in the city of Pittsburgh. You live in Allegheny County. Do you like watching community television? All right. Do you like watching community television? If you do, watch your fellow neighbor put on a good produced show. My suggestion to you is to crowd up city council's office, demand a hearing, and go in there and demand that they fork out some money in the city. I heard at one time the city used to fork out $500,000 for community television, city of Pittsburgh. Now that they have their own station, they feel they don't have to do that anymore. But they forget about when they used to be on that station. You understand what I'm saying? Don't ever forget about where you once were. And they were there. All right? I think you have a pretty good idea what I'm talking about. And it's really sad because good, talented people like myself, okay, Claudio Rosano, Luther Dupree, Smoking Jim Frazier, and some other folks down there that at the community TV station over on the north side that have very good talent and put on good shows. But we're not appreciated. And now they want us to bear the burden of the station. And I'm not doing it. And neither are my friends or anyone else. And if anyone does, they need to get their head examined. Okay? All right? It's time now to start stepping up and stop hiding. This is an opportunity for all you folks in this city and county that cry and complain that you can't put any kind of artistic stuff on TV. Is this how you want your community channel? You know, other than Bethel Parks and other than the community station here in Pittsburgh, all right, Bethel Park has their own community channel. Monroeville has one, okay? Other than them folks, and the community station over on the north side here in Pittsburgh, all right, that also is community television, all right? Every other community program channel anywhere, most of them are nothing but announcements. They don't have shows. They just put announcements on there. They put, you buy a little bit of airtime here, or you donate money or whatever, and they'll put your advertisement up or whatever they do. You got it in Allegheny County. Why don't you help and help it to survive? All right. Step away from the bottle for a minute. Step away from the beer can. Step away from the dope in the pot and help us out. And get this to where it needs to be. I'm sure you know somebody who at one time has trained there. I know a youth, a kid that I know that was involved in the youth media program there, and he said if it wasn't for that, he would be on the streets. Okay? So my advice to you is to go out there and fight for this channel. And you know who I'm talking about. I don't have to go no further. Okay? Because I'm not doing it no more. They want to carry the burdens of the backs of us producers to carry this station and pay more money when there are grants out there, when the city at one time has given $500,000 to this station. Why can't they do it again? Why can't we go to the federal government and say, hey, look, well, that's because certain individual down there doesn't want to do anything. He's lazy just like most of society anymore. I've said this many times on this program, so I'm blue in the face. We live in a lazy society. We don't want to work. We don't want to go the extra mile. We don't want to do anything extra. We don't want to help our fellow man. We don't want to do none of that. What do we want to do? We want to stab each other in the back. We want to scam each other now because we're not getting our unemployment checks from COVID. That's what we're doing now. Stealing and scamming. And it's worse now than it's ever been. Why? Because I can't get my check anymore that was promised by our president during COVID. That tonight is the way I see it. You all, everyone have a great night tonight, and I'll see you next week here, 7 p.m. Don't forget my special guest, Jake Hauk from the Allegheny Institute for Public Policy, and he's going to tell us about the Pittsburgh public schools. I went to a Pittsburgh public school. I know some of you out there went to a Pittsburgh public school. Isn't it a disgrace? Well, Jake Hauk's going to talk about it next week. He's from the Allegheny Institute of Public Policy, and he will be on the show with us next week at 7 o'clock. So tune in here live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. All right? And I'll keep you up to speed as to what's going on at the entity known as the community station in this town. I'll let you know what's going on. Right now, it's not looking too good. I was planning on sending programs down to them. Now they're giving me slack again today. All right. Have a great one. Talk to you next week. And don't forget tomorrow night, 8:30, Monster Show tomorrow night for Sports Corner and the last official Steady podcast. We will be doing Sports Corner podcast 2-3 times a month, but we're not going to be doing it steady. It's not going to be on, the Steady Tuesday night slot because we have the radio show now. We're going radio. We're moving up. And now we're going to be brought to you by Sideline Sports and Amped Up Sports. See, that's how far up we're moving in this world. Yeah, that's where we are. Have a great one. Good night.